So let's think about content, okay? So what's behind the glass in the cafe serving is really, that's your content. That's what you're giving people.
Welcome to Authentic Online Marketing with Ruthie Gray. Growing awareness for your blog, podcast, book, or product involves more than dancing to reels and yelling, "Buy my thing." This show models quality over clamor so you can put your spin on your message and market in a way that feels authentic to you, because nobody wants to sound like an infomercial. And now, here's your host, Ruthie Gray.
Hey y'all, and welcome back to the second part in our November series of the 4 components that make up a solid Instagram platform. The 4 things that will not change, have never changed, and we don't see changing anytime soon. As we all know, Instagram does change all the time. They change formats. You don't know where things are. You go in there and you think it's, what you're normally going to use to post is somewhere else, and the buttons and the where you put the title and the graphics, and it changes all the time, but there are 4 main things that don't. Last week we talked about the bio, and across the board in all forms of social media you usually have a bio, and we likened this to walking in a cafe and your first impressions. The bio it's kind of what you see when you first walk in, and it kind of helps you know if you're in the right place, really. Like last week, I talked about our favorite cafe, K&W, when my kids were growing up. The first thing we saw was a person who was very welcoming. It was the K&W lady. That's what we called her. And she had this blonde hairdo on top of her head, looked kind of like lopsided Mickey Mouse ears. She was very fun. We all connected with her, and she welcomed us in. So the first impressions is what you want to, it's how you connect, really, with your people. So your bio sets the tone for your platform, and it shows what you're there to do for your followers. Your bio isn't really about you. It is, but it isn't. It's about them and how you can help them. And this is the hook to get them to come in and stay a while. Now, today we're going to talk about content. So when we would go in K&W and we get in the line, and I would have like a 4-year-old on my hip, and then we had the 6-year-old and the 9-year-old and the 11-year-old. And they're all looking at all the different selections and what they want this week. And sometimes one constant was always the chocolate pudding or the chocolate pudding pie. That was pretty constant. But you never knew for sure what was going to be up each week as far as the salads and the meats and whatever. So, with 4 kids, we would have to kind of help navigate that. That was quite wild sometimes. So let's think about content, okay? So what's behind the glass in the cafe serving is really, that's your content. That's what you're giving people. Now, granted, we were buying it. And your content will translate into your marketing, and it should be very closely related to what you are marketing. What do you have for sale? Is it affiliate sales? Is it your own product? Or perhaps you are trying to streamline traffic to a website, a blog, a podcast, and perhaps you are generating funds from that area. But nevertheless, your content needs to be closely branded, and you need to be speaking to that person that your bio is about and that your product is about. So you want to be giving tangible snack-sized foods, basically, that get them used to your kind of teaching method and connection method. So you need to give things that are useful for your audience. For instance, education in your field. I referenced my friend Wren Robbins last week. She's a podcast coach. So she gives little tidbits about how to run a podcast, how to set one up. And she gives helpful hints about that on her account. On my own account, Authentic Online Marketing Pod, I am educating my audience on how to use Instagram. And believe me, Instagram I have no lack of material because they're changing all the time. Again, like I said. And by the way, I do want you to know I'm not affiliated or working for Instagram. I'm an entrepreneur. So that is just one of my avenues, one of my streams of income. And so I coach my clients, but I also give lots of tips. And, I'll go to post something like a couple of weeks ago, I went to check out a live, just setting it up and seeing if anything had changed. And now they have, and we talked about this in a couple of episodes ago about the 5 newest updates on Instagram. Now you can practice your live. You can set it all up and practice without actually going live. And you can do that with a friend now, like a guest even. If you have a guest coming on, you guys can practice together. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, all that to say, I usually try to give tips in the feed, in Reels. I go live and I give a lot of information in stories. So if you aren't watching my stories, be sure to go over there and do that. Follow me at Ruthie Gray. So those are really interchangeable. RuthieGray.mom is my website. So it is important to have quality content, not just something that you throw up and you're good to go. You want to really deliver value. So be thinking of within your niche and what you are marketing or what you are trying to convey to get your audience to go to. How can you talk about those things and then deliver that? So for instance, I'm going to use one of my clients again, one of my members in my membership. Her name is Sarah Frazer, and Sarah teaches young moms how to simply and easily get in the Word every day. And she breaks it down and she has several resources and she talks about them and she encourages moms to check them out. But she also just gives little tips in her content about what they can do. So that is one way that you can do that. And then another member of mine, Joni Scott, she is focusing on prayer. And so she and another member, Jane DeLong, just did a prayer challenge together. By the way, when you leverage colleagues and cohorts, that broadens your audience and grows your audience and gives you credibility too. That's just a little aside. But they just finished doing a 5-day Pray Where You Are challenge. And one day it was when you're driving. One day it was while you're waiting. Maybe you're waiting in line at the checkout at the grocery or you're waiting at the doctor. So it was a challenge, and yet it was very helpful to the women to see, hey, I can pray wherever I am. So what you want to do is deliver value and have quality content. So how does your content stand out? How does it measure up? If you were to look at your content and rate it from 1 to 5, what kind of rating would you give it? Are you all over the map? Are you posting about your shoes one day and what you wore? And then you're posting about the weather the next day? How to do, after school crafts with your kids to keep them busy and like educational crafts one day. And then the next day it's more about how to talk to your husband in a kind way. So what we're finding now is the more niche you are, the better off you are, and the quicker you're going to stimulate your growth and gain followers. That's one thing that I referenced Jamie and Chris Bailey last week. They are Expedition Marriage, and they have amazing content, but it's all about marriage. I mean, there's so much content that you can talk about with marriage, but they stay on topic all the time. And their audience has grown by leaps and bounds. So they know that what they're delivering works and their content is useful. And others are finding it useful as well and sharing it. And that's the thing, y'all. When we have useful content and it's really something that resonates with people, they'll share it. So you will develop really lifelong targeted fans that way. That's how I built my membership. I started with clients. They started sharing with other people. And my clients are diehards. Like they love what I give them. And so they share it. And so that's what you want. You want your followers and your clients to share your content, but it must be amazing and it must be targeted. So go look. Today's homework is go look. Rate it 1 to 5. And then I'd love for you to come over and send me a DM on Instagram at Ruthie Gray, Authentic Online Marketing Pod, and let me know. Did you get a 1, a 3, a 5? What do you think your content is? And be staying tuned for our Black Friday sale. It may come early, and it is all about Authentic Email Marketing School and my Authentic Social Marketing Accelerator. If you are trying to get your Instagram off the ground, if you've got 200 followers, if you have been spinning your wheels and you need some good strategy, it's going to start in January. It's going to go for a whole month. And then February's is going to be the 30-day email marketing school. And they transition in right well, one to the other. So if you're having trouble with email and getting people off of Instagram and onto your email list, you'll want to get in on this. We have some amazing bonuses. So stay tuned. The price is only going to be limited for 48 hours. So keep your eyes and ears open and follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming today. Next week, we will talk about followers, and be sure to check the show notes. If you maybe missed some of this, we always have full show notes. We have links, and we want you to come back. So don't forget to pop over, rate your content for me. I can't wait to talk to you. See you next week.